Welcome to Sex Ed in the City with Drew and Dr. G.
About health and sex education in today's modern classroom. Get an inside peek into the world of sex education and real-life stories from teachers. Hosted by experienced educators Drew and Dr. G, each episode brings you an open and honest discussion about a range of topics related to health and sex education.
Hey everyone, we recommend that you watch this episode on YouTube if you can. That way you catch all the hilarious facial expressions from our host and our guest. In addition, stay after the episode for really thoughtful unpacking and reflection from Drew and Dr. G.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Sex Ed in the City. We are so grateful you're here with us today. We have a super special guest that we know you're going to love. Dr. G! What's up?
Hi, how are you? I'm so excited for our guest today, everyone. So my guest today is an amazing woman that I know very well. Everyone, introducing to you my mom, Mindy. Hi, Mom.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. We really appreciate you coming on. We're excited to talk to you.
Oh, thank God. I mean, really. It's like I have nothing better to do than come on here today. Keeps me from having to work because my boss is a bitch. Oh, I'm the boss.
She's self-employed, y'all.
I'm dying.
Okay.
Mindy, not my question of the day, but how are you feeling being on the podcast? Like what emotions, feelings are going on?
I feel ridiculous, basically.
Why do you feel ridiculous?
I've never done it before. So, and I'm just going to be myself because I don't know who else I should be.
Perfect.
So go for it. I'll try to be serious on some of your questions, but I'm exhausted. All right, go for it.
Question you just be yourself. 1. You're amazing. I'm already laughing so hard. Okay. So the question of the day today, I actually stole from my CrossFit coach. Shout out to Griff. I don't know if he ever listens to this.
I never heard of it.
What, CrossFit?
Oh, that's an exercise deal, isn't it?
Yes. Okay, so it's a two-parter. Sorry. First part, 1, do you believe that aliens exist? Are they out there? Is there extra life out in the world? And the second part is
where I live.
Second part is, what do we think about the recent alien sighting? Is that real? Is there something else going on?
Yeah, excuse me.
What do we got?
Oh, I totally believe in aliens, and we can't be the only people here. I'm sorry. It's just like, wait.
Wait, Mom, tell Drew about the time you saw an alien at the beach house.
Oh, I thought I did. Crap.
Stop
this is
texting.
one of my employees. I can't. Hang on.
Can you text? Can you respond later, maybe?
Just hang on. I just told her I can't do this. Whatever.
Okay. So no more answering your phone.
Sorry. She's coming up here.
Great.
Anyway,
okay.
I had to text her. So anyway, you want to know why I believe in aliens? What was the question?
Well, tell Drew about the time you saw the alien at the beach house.
I thought I did. I was fairly pregnant with a child at the time, and I looked out the window and I saw these lights in the neighbor's yard kind of blinking, like weird. I'm like, oh God, what the hell is that? Mm-hmm. But I did see one time. Somebody I know, I guess I can't mention names, and that person might not remember this anyway. We were looking at the stars, it was during the summer, whatever. And I'm not kidding. I saw a star that does this. Oh, okay. What the hell was that? It was like, of course there's something out there. Satellites don't do that all over.
Yeah.
They go, across the sky. this thing was nuts, and I just figured some alien kid was out there messing around with their vehicle, and the mother is, you get your damn over there. Yeah, you don't know. But we cannot be the only people or things or, whatever. Nanu, if you get that reference.
Is that Star Trek?
Probably not old enough.
Did I know that?
Yeah. Shazbot, Nanu, Planet Orc, come on.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you.
Okay, hello, my name is, you can see my name. The name of the show was Mork and Mindy. Come on. Robin Williams.
Oh, is that what you're named after?
God, no. No, I'm too old for that. I was named after a lady singer.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, her name was Mindy Carson. You can look her up. And my grandma's name was Molly. And Mom didn't want to name me Molly. So that was close. And she liked that Mindy Carson singer. So that's who I am.
Oh, didn't know that. Cool.
Don't find me on Facebook.
Yeah. Your mom just gets flooded with Facebook requests.
I know. Do not
podcast requests.
Yeah, everyone leave my mom alone. Question.
Yeah, because you won't like it if you start pestering me, because I got a mouth and I'm trying to be good.
Okay. Question that it's totally subverted this. Why did you name me Rachel?
Well, I think the lady that had you named you Rachel.
Stop it. Okay.
No, I don't know. Well, because it was really difficult to figure it out. I was going to name you Stephanie, actually.
Wait, I thought my name was going to be Michael. Didn't you think I was a boy?
Oh, God, no. That was my dog's name.
Oh.
No.
Didn't you think I was a boy?
I thought everybody was going to be a boy. I was hoping for a boy, and I was going to name you, let me think about it. I was going to name you, I forget. All I know is that we used to watch credits after movies on TV, and look at names. And, I don't know how I came up with Rachel. I really didn't. I figured Stephanie was too long. But then I, named you Rachel, threw a second A in there just to mess everybody up. And then your middle name is gigantically long too. So what was the difference between Stephanie and Rachel Elizabeth? So.
Interesting.
I don't know why I picked that name. I just thought it was kind of pretty. Do you like your name?
I do like my name.
Do you like your name, Drew?
I do. I used to want to be.
He drew on the wall. I mean, seriously.
That's what I'm always screaming to people. Drew a picture when I'm out at a party or something.
Well, DRU.
Yeah. I used to want to be Andrew so that I could be called Andy. Because I'm just.
Well, you could change it.
I could, but it kind of evolved out. I kind of just like the plain Drew nowadays.
Well, you're cute, so it doesn't really matter.
Thank you, Mindy. You can come back here whenever you want.
No, why did you ask me about freaking aliens? Why does that have to do with sex ed? I watch alien shows, and they did show the first couple back in the early 60s that think they got abducted and got, creepy stuff. You just don't know. It could have been the government doing it for all I know, because they stuck a needle in her belly, and they do that stuff now. So, which is kind of interesting to me. It's is it a hoax? Is it the government trying to experiment on people so they can, try to figure out if that's going to work or not? When they stuck a needle in my placenta, and I'm like, or not the placenta, but the sac, the amniotic fluid sac. And I'm like, oh God, it's going to pop like a balloon. No, it doesn't. But that's what happened, I mean, how does anybody figure out that stuff? What's that got to do with sex ed? That's what I want.
Nothing. We just it's just an opening question to get to know people.
Well, shit, we cannot be the only people here. I'm sorry, but did we come from, did we go from cavemen, monkeys? I don't know. Everybody has, then there's the religious side of it. It's no, God made everything. Well, who in the heck is that guy? That's my big question of the day.
Oh, okay.
No, very thorough answer. Yeah. I know.
I talk a lot. These are questions.
You explained your answer very well. That was great.
Well, they say I
Well,
have a high IQ. I don't know where it went, but apparently, I don't know. I just
listen,
played
y'all.
stupid for a lot of years because you know what? If you say yes to stuff, then they start calling you all the time. Mindy will do it. No, she won't. My big word is N-O. What part of that don't you get? The N or the O?
We
So
love a no.
always say
Yeah.
no. Okay, next question.
Rachel, well, I want to hear your thoughts as well, Dr. G. Aliens or nah? And what do you think about
Yeah.
the recent sighting?
Yeah. I think that there has to be some type of other universe out here that we don't know about. I think it's probably something that we can't even conceptualize as humans. Like, it's something so different than what we would ever understand that we can't think about it. That's what I think. What do you think?
I agree with both of you. I think there's definitely some sort of life out there. I doubt these whatever look like us. I don't expect them to be like the aliens that we see like on TV and things like that. But
You never know.
you don't, and that's the interesting part. Like, how much is the government hiding, if they even are?
Oh,
But
they are. I definitely. They hide all kinds of stuff that we don't know about. Have you ever been through what state was that I went to? Nevada. That's a creepy as hell state to go through. There's shit out there that, oh my God, what the hell is going on out there? Yeah, it's government junk.
I don't know if I'm ever gonna make it back to Nevada, but oh well.
Yeah. Well, Mom, so I guess I just want to kind of talk to you about like a bunch of stuff today. And so something that I have been thinking about that I'm dying to ask you is, recently I gave a keynote speech, and I was kind of like you remember when I did that, and I was kind of talking about
I have no memory. No, I do remember you told me about it. Go ahead.
So I was in the speech, I was kind of talking about things that happened in my life that kind of like part of my like sexual identity development and stuff. And I told the story about when I was in preschool and I showed my private to that kid. And you remember he ran up to me and he was like, Rachel showed me your privates. And remember, Dad got so mad and he took that wooden spoon and he broke it on the table.
I remember that part, but I don't remember that what kid did you show that?
Well, I don't know who it was, but you remember the incident.
I know who it was. You guys were in a tent or something, and
yes, we built a fort.
Yeah. I know
Good memory.
I know exactly who that kid was.
Oh, well, I have no idea. I just remember that I showed him mine and he did not show me his, and I was mad about it. And then he outed me. He told me. So I'm curious to like, if you remember, Dad got so mad, he did the whole breaking of the spoon. Do you remember like the conversation that you and him had when that happened? Or like, what were your thoughts? What did you have any conversation after he broke the spoon?
Yes,
I would love to hear your perspective of it.
I'll tell you the conversation. I do kind of remember it. He didn't mean to break that spoon, by the way. He just meant to, for startle effect, bam, but it broke in half and we both went, oh, okay. I didn't mean yeah, you broke my wooden spoon, damn it. That was my good wooden spoon. Anyway, I told him, he said, well, next time I'll use a belt. I said, you touch my kids with any object, I'll touch you with it back. How about that? No, that was the conversation we had. But I know that little kids want to see stuff, and they do, as long as they're not. Shut the hell up. Nobody ever calls me till I'm doing something important or on the toilet. Pisses me off.
Well, so did you guys I'm wondering why, like, even, my Dad never hit me. I don't ever.
Never. I wouldn't let him.
Okay. So I wonder though, like, he definitely wanted to startle me and to scare me. Do you know like why? Like, what was the purpose of that? Even whether he meant to break the spoon or not, it was obviously to startle me to do something. Do you remember the conversation about that and to like how you would approach it with me?
Nope. No recollection. My God, it's not like you're 10, and I remember that from a few years ago.
I know. I just want to see if you did remember.
Yeah, I really don't. It's just that we probably talked about, I think his dad used the belt. on the boys.
Yes.
And so I guess, that's a Southern thing too, I think. I mean, what do I know? But I know in the South, they are a little more, what's the thing in the Bible? Something about using the rod, spoil the child. I forget.
Bear the rod, spoil the child.
That's right. And they used it because they, people down
Right, but
south
I'm
are really
talking
super
about, I'm
religious
not
and
really
believe in
talking
everything
about,
in the Bible, huh?
I'm not really talking about that, like hitting. I'm talking about your thoughts about scaring me because I showed my private to someone. Like why
Well,
would you
how
want
far
to,
did you show your privates? Did you just pull your pants down, see, oh, this is what it looks like? Or did you, do a Tessie thing, roll on your back and spread it for the whole world to see?
well, does it
What my
matter?
dog does.
A, would it matter?
Nobody wants to see that. What?
Well, does it matter? A, and B, also, I don't remember. But I'm just curious about like why you guys thought about like.
I don't know that's. Well, I don't really remember why he did that with the wooden spoon to startle you. Maybe he just thought that you were too young to talk about, body parts at that age. I don't know. I mean, you had to been, if you were in preschool, you were like 4, 3.
Yeah, 5.
4, and it's like
tiny.
I don't really know.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if that's what he was doing that. I don't know. It's been so long. I do remember the spoon breaking though, and I got pissed off at him for thinking he was going to use a belt next time. I said, no, over my dead body. I don't think so, because I don't believe in that kind of stuff. But I did spank you once really hard without a diaper, and you didn't like it. And I'm like, that only took once.
And you also used to slap me in the face for being
I did
a
that
smart
with Dana
ass.
too. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's like you two. I'm sorry, mouthy little. Think you can get away with shit talking to your mother like that? No. And my mother slapped me in the face one time too.
But it didn't really work because we're still smart asses.
So am I. You'll get over it one day. No, you won't.
Yeah, does the spanking, does the stuff.
I'll tell you what, when I was probably in about 3rd grade, somebody at school, one of the kids, friend or something, told me 3 dirty words. And I didn't believe him because I never heard them before. So I came home and asked my mom, and I'll tell you the 3 dirty words, shit, fucking ass. And I got in big trouble for saying those 3 words. I wasn't using them. I just wanted to know if they were swear words. I got in so much trouble.
Well, that's so interesting you say that, Mom, because when I was in 3rd grade and we lived in Washington, we were taking care of Grandma. I came home from school and asked you what a blowjob was.
No,
and
God, did I answer?
No, I got in so much trouble, and you washed my mouth out with soap. Do you and you don't remember? So I think it's interesting. Get off your phone. I think it's interesting.
Sorry,
that...
it's my employee. She's not stupid. I had to go pick something up. She just took a picture. Want to know if that's what it was? Yes.
Okay. So I just think it's interesting that you're
I
talking
mean,
about you getting in trouble for asking about words.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble for
okay. So shit fucking ass. Those are just dirty, stupid words. I mean, it's like they're just dirty words. I guess I don't even know if I consider them dirty anymore, but when your kid is in 3rd grade asking you what a blowjob is, it's like, no, you don't need to know about that kind of stuff. Oh, well, Adam and I were one of my sons and I were in the car. He was probably in, I don't know what grade he was in, 5th grade, maybe 4th grade. I don't know. Anyway, he said, where'd I come from? So I said, oh God, the sex talk. So I told him about the fallopian tubes, the eggs and the sperms and the this, that, and the other. He goes, no, where'd I come from? My friend came from Michigan. Oh shit. Damn it. Here I thought I was doing right. But anyway, but I will tell you about another kid that told me about his first time. And he goes, and I said, well, how was it the first time? And he goes, oh no, I said, how was it? He goes, well, which time? I'm like, oh my God, and how many times did you do it? La 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 la. I don't want to hear this from my child. Oh, guess which one that was, Rach?
I don't need to guess. I already know this story.
Oh. I was like, wow.
I feel like if you're not if these things aren't happening, then they're definitely happening in secret or somewhere else, because young people.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of like, I'm glad they're asking me. I remember when my other daughter was had a friend over when we lived in Oregon, and we were talking about they were going into the 6th grade or 7th grade or whatever, they were kind of at that awkward 11, age. And I said, you can hear all kinds of crap from your friends. It's probably not true. And it's not the fact. The fact is guys are going to want to stick their hands up your top and feel your boobs. I'm like, well, it's true. Boys are just as much curious as girls might be, although penises are really ugly. I'm sorry. God screwed up on that one. I think they're, and they're going to try and go down your pants too and feel that around. And, they're curious. And I said, and if you don't want them to, you don't have to. And that poor daughter, she's like, oh, Mom, why are you talking to us? Don't you want to know the truth? Because some friend of yours is going to tell you some other bullshit that's, it wasn't
Mom,
his daughter.
Speaking of someone touching your boobs, do you remember the first person that touched your boobs?
Oh, Lord.
How old were you?
Well, I have to really swim back to the,
Was it Rick? It wasn't Ricky Crabtree, was it?
Oh, God.
With the sweaty hands?
Oh, my God. If he's listening, that'd be horrible. No, I think he passed away because I found his brother.
It's fine then.
No, that guy was just creepy. Kind of looked like a crab. I don't know. His hands were all dry and we had to square dance and nobody wanted to touch him. He's just creepy.
Oh my.
Do you want to see a picture of him?
No,
have a picture.
No, let's not out this poor person that probably had
okay,
eczema or
no,
something.
it wasn't Ricky Crabtree. I'm trying to think. I think it was I belonged to a group growing up. Does anybody give a crap what religion I am or anything like that? Because
they already know we're Jews. It's fine.
Oh, well, it was a Jewish affiliated group, and and they were regional. They were from like up in Canada, in Vancouver, Canada, and Seattle, Portland, and around. And they would match us up with guys to go to these fancy dances and stuff that we did. And my cousin, I could punch him in the face, had a friend. What was that guy's name? He was from Portland, I think. Anyway, and my cousin was dating this girl. We went over to the Narrows Bridge to watch the submarine races, if you get the drift. Really? The submarine races, there aren't any. That's where you go to make out.
Okay. Make out lane.
Anyway, that guy, his name was, I can't say it. I know, I remember his name. He tried to feel me up and I'm like, dude, I don't think so. I think I hit him and got out of the car and said, take me home. I told my cousin, take me home. I was too young. I was like, probably, 13 maybe. It's like, no, I'm not, no. Nobody's touching the tatas. So.
That's pretty incredible that at that age you had the confidence in yourself to be like, no, and you got out of the car and stuff, because a lot of people don't have that.
Well, I just never had that experience before. I'll tell you a funny one. Well, in school in junior high, that we had teen time on Friday nights, and we'd all go
teen time
records and dance. And that one teacher, Mr. Feichter, he was a little short guy, looked like a rat. He had a pointy nose. He was a funny guy. He was a great teacher. He'd always be, no bear hug, dancing slow, no, keep apart. And this one gal is funny. I remember she was dancing and she got down on the floor and she was, we wore skirts back then. It's like, oh, get up. You can't do that. You can't show anything. It was like 1967, probably, 66, 67. She's also, her father was the chief of police and she did become a narcotics cop, which I think is funny. She took me to a bar back when I was up visiting where I grew up. And she said, let's smoke a joint before we go in. I'm like, you're the narcotics cop. Yeah, sure, let's smoke one. Okay. But anyway, what was the whole point? Oh, the whole point of that was it was a teen time, and a lot of us just would like leave the dance and go walk around outside by the school. And I remember me and this guy, Jack, I think he's passed away now. I can say his name. It doesn't matter. His name was Jack. Anyway, we were in the alley talking. He goes, "Have you ever kissed anybody before?" And I'm like, "Well, mom and dad, that kind of stuff. No." So that was my first kiss. And, and he said, "Oh, you do that pretty good." I'm like, "Okay." I guess I was a good kisser. I don't know. But anyway, which brought me to another thing that all of a sudden went through my head. I don't know. I'd have to come back to that. But
Okay.
yeah.
Drew, do you have any questions for my mom? When we were teachers, we always would, I don't know, for me, when I met my students' parents, like, so suddenly so many things would become clear about them. So I'm wondering, Drew, are you like having like revelations about me as your friend now that you're
both
like
have kind of
talking
like
to my mom?
Yeah, you have like similar like laughs and stuff, which I really like. I have infinite questions. I can write a book about the questions I have. We'll start
Go
off
for it. I've got time. I have nothing else to do.
Well, just out of curiosity, what the why Mustang Mindy? Is that like a nickname?
No, and I wish you had not said that because it's ridiculous. I had
It's
my
like a
first
great thing.
my boyfriend in high school that I later married and divorced, and that's a whole nother story. He had bought a 1965 Mustang black convertible 4-speed. Anyway, when we got our divorce, he gave me the car. Well, fast forward a bazillion years later, decades later, living down here, the boyfriend that I had, we would go listen to this band because he was friends with them, and they would play all these 60s songs. And so they would play Mustang Mindy instead of Mustang Sally. That's how that came around.
Love that. Yeah, that's a badass name. I think we got to go with that.
Yeah,
No.
Okay.
Hey,
Well,
bitch, you over there. That's kind of
whatever you prefer.
mostly what I hear. I can hear. It's like when my other daughter, she was pissed off about something, and I remember walking down the hallway and I said, "I saw you do that." She goes, "How do you know?" She made a face, obviously. "I'm not stupid. What do you think I was doing to my mother when she was walking away?" Yeah, so it was kind of funny. It's like, trust me, I was not a nice child. I was kind of a brat.
This is an interesting place to go to. And this was you both kind of got into this a little bit. And it kind of, I guess I'm curious because I don't know if Rachel and I ever want to be parents. Rachel definitely does not. I don't know if I do.
It's not an easy job, I'm telling you.
Oh, definitely not.
It sucks, and the pay sucks even more. It's a thankless job. I'm telling you, I love my kids, but damn, it's like we're not perfect. We screw up too,
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going, because like I don't know. I think parents do the best they can with what they know, and
well, they don't seem to know a whole lot, Drew. I'm sorry, but parents these days just piss me off. I was at where was I? This Goodwill, and I was talking to this lady that I knew, this older lady, and this young gal, her kids were just running around in the store. That pisses me off. Same at Walmart when they're screaming, "Shut that kid up!" What the hell is wrong with you? This God dang.
Okay, well, what was your question, Drew?
Yeah.
I want to hear about what your question was.
So
Sorry.
No, you're great. I love your energy. Like, I feel like every child remember stuff that their parents did that they didn't like, and they try to do maybe it a little differently or a little better. Can you remember anything about the way you were raised and being like, oh yeah, I didn't like that, I'm gonna change some stuff?
Yeah, and I tried really hard, and I don't think I was as bad as my mom, but my mom was a yeller. He'd yell at this, he'd yell at that. And she's always yelling at us for something. "Wait till your father gets home." And she'd chase us around with this shingle that was off the house, There was 3 of us trying to catch us. Well, it went in a different direction, Or she'd be yelling out I remember my bedroom was over the garage, and the garage was underground kind of, but back in the 50s, right? And oh God, Mom would go to that window because she knew we were out there in the back somewhere. Mindy Rose, get your butt out of Daddy or whatever. She was always using my middle name. I hated it, because she was always screaming and yelling at us. So I tried not to do that with my kids. Although everybody kind of seems to scream and yell at their kids anyway. Not as much. I tried not to, and I tried to actually make my kids feel good about themselves so that they would be ambitious. And I guess I did the right thing because they're all pretty ambitious. I don't think any of them went to jail or anything, at least that I know of.
What did you do to make them ambitious? Like, what were your
I just wanted them to feel good about themselves. Although as an adult, Rachel told me things that happened to her when she was a kid, and I was so upset that she didn't tell me so that I could do something about it. That really, oh God, talk about being pissed off. I want to go punch a teacher in the face.
Yeah.
Twice. And there's things that your kids don't tell you that you would never know. I mean, I found out, she told me as an adult. Well, I can't go back and hit that lady now. She's probably dead anyway. Old lady. Teacher, I don't know. What can you do? You just don't. I mean, I didn't tell my parents anything because they weren't listening to me anyway. So my parents didn't listen to anything. Well, my parents were first born Americans. So their parents came from other countries. And so they got raised. God knows what my mother ate when she was a kid. Beets, I don't know, and potatoes. They're from Russia. So you just don't know. My mom was a lousy cook. Oh, she was a great baker because her dad was a baker. And her uncle was a baker, so you just don't know what they came from. And I never asked them. I'm so sorry that I never asked my mother, what did your mother feed you when you were a kid, for God's sakes, because you were a lousy cook. Oh God. And my sister wanted to do a recipe book with all our cousins and stuff.
Cute.
With recipes. And cousin Bob, I have 3 Bob cousins. Anyway, so you don't know which one it is. But anyway, he said, my mother never cooked. She'd always do takeout. His dad worked for CBS. And so he was pretty high up, vice president of CBS on the West Coast. And so he was inviting some high ups to their house for dinner. And she's like, well, shit. So she called some restaurant and ordered all this fancy schmancy stuff and put it in her dishes. So it looked like she made it all. So that recipe book, it never came to fruition because we were all laughing. My mother's was a shitty cook. What do you want to know? She made us some of the worst stuff ever. We should just have a book about all the crap we remember that we had to eat that was,
Mom, I'm curious. I'm thinking about grandma and grandpa. So for our listeners, my grandparents, my mom's parents, passed when I was pretty young, like 2nd and 3rd grade. So I have limited memories of them, but Mom, I wonder, did they ever have a sex talk with you or anything?
No, absolutely not. We learned it all in school, especially when we got our periods. We learned that in school. Mom never told us anything. She didn't wear makeup. She didn't tell us anything. It was like, I'm totally Miss Modest, when it comes to when I was going out, I wouldn't want anybody to see my boobs or anything like that. Like some girls do now. They just show everything. And it's like,
my mom hates cleavage. Oh God. Yeah. She's always telling us to put on a dickie, anyway, Jesus. So. But Mom, okay, so I'm curious then, because grandma and grandpa didn't talk to you about anything, but you were really open with, at least me anyway, I'll speak from my own experiences. I remember when you got pregnant with your 2nd kid, and having the conversation and you drawing the whole things. And so I think you were pretty open and progressive for the 70s, 80s, my upbringing. So was that a conscious decision to do something different from how you were raised? Yeah. Or just you don't even know, you just did it?
My mom had a book. I remember when she was pregnant with my brother. Can you imagine? We're 2.5, 3 years apart. I remember when she was pregnant with him, and she showed me a book, a birthing book. And I was so little. I was 3 years old, 2 years old, whatever I was, and I'm looking at this book trying to figure out how that baby came out of a body, and I thought it came out through your upper thigh, on the inside of your upper thigh.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, and she also had a thing where she didn't call our vagina a vagina. She called it our places.
Oh,
Places.
Places.
interesting.
I didn't know what it was. I had no clue, not a clue. And then I got my period in 7th grade, and I kind of knew it because we had health education in 7th grade, and it was just girls. And then the boys had to go to the boy teacher and learn about that, you know. And they showed us pictures, drawings, not the real thing, but a drawing of a penis. And damn, those are ugly. Sorry.
Thoughts haven't changed.
I
since
still
that
think
day.
they're ugly. Still think they're ugly. And uncircumcised penises are even more ugly. Sorry, I've seen one. Oh, yeah, it was your dad. Sorry.
Yeah, so Drew, you don't know about this. My dad was uncircumcised until he met my mom, and my mom made him get circumcised. I don't know, as an adult. Yeah.
I don't love anybody. I am circumcised, but I would never. If I want my foreskin back, like.
Why? So you can rub it and make a wallet out of it?
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly.
That's
what
an just old joke.
What does that even mean? Oh my God.
Depending on the size, you could end up with a handbag. So, you know, but anyway, no, I'm sorry. I just I'm not a fan of penises, and I don't really care anymore anyway, because I got no hormones and nothing. And I am pregnant though.
A modern miracle. Yeah, I find it interesting to think about like parents and how they were raised, and parents
I
that
don't think my
raise their
parents were
kids
taught
the
anything
same or
either.
different. Yeah.
I don't think they knew anything, you know? I mean, what were their parents going to say? And they all spoke God knows what language. I don't know. My
Mhm.
mother spoke a lot of Yiddish, and I know you're mad because I didn't tell you a lot of stuff, but you know, I don't know. It just, whatever, however they grew up, my parents didn't talk about any of that stuff with us. Nothing. Never even bothered to ask them. Although I did ask my dad, he was in World War II. I did ask him if he was on the front lines or anything. No, he worked in an office. He was a typist, but he wouldn't talk about it. So my parents didn't talk to us about anything. Nothing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom didn't even teach us how to put makeup on or anything. She didn't wear any. They were pretty plain. I don't know. Dad just worked a lot, and you know, they had I should give you this book if I can find it again, Rachel. My aunt, which is my dad's sister, May, she wrote a book about where they lived growing up and stuff. So it was really interesting to read. You know, it was in the Depression.
Yeah.
That sounds
So
really nice.
when I see how kids are these days, I wonder, why aren't your parents? I taught my kids old school, I guess, you know, but some of these parents just like, whoever started, don't spank your child. Are you insane? Don't beat your child, but surely you could spank them, you know, and especially when they got a diaper on that's like 12 inches thick, they don't feel it anyway. Your hand will hurt. But
I think we differ in that opinion.
Well,
because what's
I
the
don't know.
point of it? What's the point? I mean, you
It's just a
slapped us in the
startle
face and
factor.
we're still smart. But why
it's
do we
that
want to
start-
startle? Why do we want to
I don't know.
scare
It's kind of
kids?
like when I was teaching you guys to not touch the stove top,
Uh-huh.
because you could get burned, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I was very, you know, like the wooden spoon. Don't touch the top of that stove ever. You will hurt a lot.
But I don't remember
Not
ever
coming
getting
from me,
smacked
but,
in the
you know.
face for almost touching.
Well, not that. I didn't smack anybody in the face for touching a stove. It was probably something else rotten that you did.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely
Most likely.
a generational thing. I feel like
Yeah.
today's millennials and below like are not as much about the spanking or
Did you
anything
get
like that.
spanked when you were a kid, Drew?
I got to turn my swamp cooler on. I'm boiling. Hang on.
Okay. Well, listeners,
Swamp
as mom's
cooler.
taking a break, listen, Lord Almighty.
I
Woo!
I feel like we're
Every
a guest at the Mindy show. I feel like
we are.
Mindy needs her own.
She does. She needs her own YouTube channel. God,
Yes.
thank you that she can't figure out technology because. But Drew, I'm curious. Were you spanked when you were a kid?
So it's hard because I don't know if I've talked to my parents about it, but I remember it happening. It could be I can't picture like reality and like my dreams sometimes. I think I vividly remember getting spanked as a kid. I also might remember a wooden spoon, but that could be wrong. But my dad listens to this pod and he's the one I remember spanking me. So he'll hear this and he can definitely confirm. But yeah, for sure. I definitely remember.
I remember getting spanked for stuff that I didn't think I should be spanked for or got in trouble for, because I thought I was doing the right thing, but you know, I'm stupid. I'll tell you about one of them. When we were kids and we lived not in that orchard house. We didn't have any actual curbs on our house. We just had grass and it just went to the street. My brother and I were sitting out there and I was telling him, you know, just don't run in the street, but you know, a car will stop if they see you in the street, but it's, you know, you could get really hurt. And I said, I'll show you. This car started to go by and I went out and walked out in the street to show them that car would stop when they saw me. Oh God, did I get in trouble. I did not get dinner. My dad turned me over his lap and spanked the crap out of me and put me in my room. And my mom felt really bad, so she brought me some dinner later. But oh yeah, see, my mom was like she could never catch us anyway. But I don't know, it was just some things that I do remember from my childhood that were negative things that they never really. One of the biggest thing is that having your kids be ambitious, and my kids didn't do that. My parents didn't do that. My dad was always working all the time and left that up to mom, who is probably scared to death of us. But my sister and I fought a lot. She would scratch me and I'd punch her and I'd get in trouble. What the hell? Doesn't she get in trouble for
remains today, Drew? By the way, it's a family thing. My mom and her sister battle. Like something happened when they were young. These two, it's ridiculous. We're like, who stole whose boyfriend in pre-K? Because the epic battle between my mom and her sister, it's just never ending.
She has not liked me since I was born. I figured it out since I was born. She was jealous. She even told me when we did get along at one time, and I said, what's the deal here? And she goes, she was jealous of me because I was the cute one. I was the outgoing one. She wasn't. She was real quiet. And she didn't think she was cute. Well, she had a head full of braces and a retainer thing around her head.
Oh, shame.
Head guard. She was probably about 6th grade. She had beaver teeth. Anyway, so she didn't like me because I was outgoing. I was cute as a button. Oh, what they say, cute as a bug's ear. Well, how in the hell cute is that? Come on, really? And then as we got older, she wanted to have another child. She wanted to have a son, and her husband didn't want any more kids. So they had 2 girls, but I ended up with 2 sons. She was jealous of that too, because I had 2 boys. And then I had a cousin. Family dynamics. Well, because I got pregnant so many times. And what the hell? You know, it's like I wasn't planning on any of them.
That is true. We were all wonderful, amazing surprises.
Yeah, they're
surprises.
My kids, my daughters are gorgeous. My sons are so handsome, and you know, they're all doing really well. And my younger son, he and I have a lot of good times talking and laughing together. The other one's
that's her
pissed off at me
favorite
right now. And it's like, I just want to go punch his face for a while.
Okay, well, what we're not doing is that, but
that has nothing to do with sex ed, does it?
Definitely my younger brother is my mom's favorite. We all
Baby.
know.
He is not my favorite. You only think that because you know what? That kid was so mellow. He's like my brother. He never did anything to piss me off, ever. I never.
He's your favorite.
Ever. No, he's not my favorite. You're my favorite.
Yeah, right. You heard it here, folks.
I tell them all the same thing. I will admit, you're my favorite. I tell them all that. They're all different, and they all have different personalities. Although Rachel and my first son are a lot alike, and then my second daughter and my second son are a lot alike. Like
That is true.
it's
Me and the oldest boy are like,
dads, you know. So
yeah.
yeah, but it's
So me
kinda
and my
like that.
sister have different fathers than our brothers, but me and my oldest brother, we're like the nerdy ones, and the other two are like the cool ones.
I wouldn't really classify it that way. I think you guys have a little more anxiety, and the other ones are a lot more mellow.
That is 1,000% true. Yeah.
Mindy.
Which I think is, yeah.
And I have each. I have a little bit of, I take medication.
We're very
Whatever.
pro medication. Mindy, that goes into to my next question. I was gonna ask, you were talking about how everybody's similar and different. What similarities do you see between Rachel and yourself? How
Similarities?
Are you similar? Yeah.
We're both really smart. I got tested in high school, and I had a really high IQ. And oh my God, look at Rachel, what, 3 masters or 4 masters, I forget, and a PhD. Come on.
Wild.
Who the hell does that? I mean, I was just freaking lazy and smoking dope in high school. I didn't give a shit. Basically, I still don't, but I have my own business and it seems to be successful. So I don't know what that's about, and apparently I don't look my age either, you know, so that helps a lot. I don't act my age. I act like I'm, 20 or less. I guess, I don't know. Probably the drugs in high school. I'll admit it. I smoked it and it was fun. Back. Do you want to hear a funny one? Did I tell you this, Rachel? This is so funny. I can't even believe I did it. So I freeze a lot of like thyme and dill and plant
Herbs,
to put on my food and stuff. And I had some in the freezer, and I said, shit, I've had this in the freezer for, I can't even tell you how many years. A long time, a very long time. So I pulled it out, making some salmon. I'm going to cut it up, put it on my salad. So I open up the bag. Does it smell like pot? I don't think so. And then there's this other little bag inside the big bag. And I opened it up and it smelled like mint. Okay, so I sprinkled all that shit all over my salmon. So I'm watching this movie after dinner. It's called Body Heat from 1981. And it had William Hurt and that chick that I can't think of her name right now. But anyway, man, it was kind of XXX rated. And for 1981, I was like, they showed her tits. Oh my God. I was kind of surprised. But anyway, I'm watching this movie. So when the movie was over, I got up off my comfy sofa and went into the kitchen and went, God, I am really fucked up. I guess that was cotton. God, I was so wasted. I could hardly walk. I was just ripped. I said, I need to go back to the sofa. I couldn't get off the sofa. I was so stoned. Had no idea what that. Oh God, I was so loaded. I hadn't smoked pot in so long. It'd been a really long time since I've been high. And I was like, oh, triple dipple. I didn't need that. I was so high. I finally said, I'm going to bed. And I slept like a rock, I'm sure. Oh my God. Body highs are not for me. God, I was wasted, but it was pretty damn funny. I was cracking myself up. I was so lit. Thought it was mint. Do I know?
So you were very you experimented with substances when you were younger. Did you talk to your kids about that at all? About your experiences, or either like your expectations for drugs or anything, or is that not as much talk?
I don't know. Did I, Rach? I don't know. I probably told him not to do it because, I told my other daughter, I said, I know what she was doing. She told me some of the stuff, different drugs than when I was in high school. And I said, if you want to smoke pot and go to school, as long as you're getting grades, and she got straight A's. She was really a pretty good student. I said, I don't care if you smoke pot. In fact, I smoked with her. So whatever, what do I know? I'd let her have parties at the house, because we had a pool table in the garage. And I just told the kids, give me your keys, car keys, because you're not going anywhere.
So I was raised very differently because me and that child are 7 years apart. But I don't think I ever had any of the drug talks because I grew up, with my dad and watching him do drugs and drink and things. So I never wanted it. I never drank alcohol. Well, I drank alcohol one time in high school, and that wasn't until Memorial Weekend. No, it was like the end, my spring break, my senior year. So I don't think there was like a need to have that conversation. I mean, I was the president of Friday Night Live, which was the alcohol and drug free club on campus. Like, actually, nerd alert. But like,
Well, when you went to college,
there
it
was
freaked
no
me out.
conversation that needs to
Yeah.
be had.
It wasn't until you were in college that,
Yeah.
you know, you started drinking. And I was worried because their dad's an alcoholic. And I know my girls can put it down pretty damn good, you know, but they were smart enough to not go that direction. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I don't remember having like any kind of like don't do drugs talk. It just like wasn't needed. But I also, I'm sorry, excuse me. I also wasn't like having parties at the house. Like my mom at that time when I was in high school was married to my brother's father, and they were very strict with me. Like I wasn't doing any of that. But by the time,
you know, it's just a different time. I mean, it's so funny because when I was in school, the drugs that were in school was speed and pot, of course, and that's about it, you know, and acid, you know, there was a lot of that. I enjoyed mescaline myself, but and I don't mind telling the government, who's probably listening to this right now, screw you people, y'all did it too, you know, come on. Anyway, that's right. I have, let's see, how do I do that? Pick one. It's not available for you.
Like the rock on symbol.
Yeah. And those kids were doing ecstasy and cocaine and stuff, and they were getting the coke from their parents. I'm like, because they were rich, you know, people here. And I'm not telling you where, but sorry, people, you don't get to know where I live.
well, a simple
Where
Google search
is
would
the
answer that.
best?
But I have
anyway.
a question. I have another question for you, Mom. I know we're almost running out of time, but when you think about, and I'm just talking about you and I, when you think about how you were a parent to me, is there anything you would have changed?
Your name. I don't think I would have named you Rachel. I don't know why.
What would you have named me? I would have been Stephanie?
Oh, Stephanie. No, because you had a friend, Stephanie. No, I don't know. I always liked the name Lydia. But anyway, no, I don't know. I think
so of
that,
all the things that you could maybe change about you being my mom and raising me, changing my name to Lydia is what you choose in this moment.
no, I'm messing with you. Anyway, no, I think your grade school years were really hard on you, and I didn't know a lot of that kind of stuff, what was going on at school, because you didn't tell me. I would have changed a lot of things had I known about that, because I think you had a perception of yourself that you didn't like yourself, or that I didn't like you or something. And it's like, but I don't know why. And until you told me some of those things, you know, that Mrs. Anderson, bitch, you know.
That's the one that made me pee my pants.
Yes. Yeah. I know. Had I known some of that stuff, I would have tried to lift you up more so that you like yourself more, that like you thought you were the ugly duckling. And I know that feeling because I felt like I was the ugly duckling wallflower.
Yeah.
You know, that you, oh, sorry, my allergies are making my nose drip. You know, and it takes a lot sometimes, you know, to figure out how to like yourself, you know, because I didn't like myself. So how do I teach somebody else to like themselves? You know, that's a rough one. And you don't know that they don't like themselves because they don't talk to you. Your kids are, you know, they don't have that capacity to understand that stuff. You know, neither did I. And I read a book and it helped me immensely. It was called Your Erroneous Zones by Wayne Dyer. And I always think everybody should read that book because it helps a lot. Write that down.
You talk about that book a lot. Well, I think it's interesting.
One moment.
Oh God, she's gonna bring it to show us.
Never mind, I can't get to it. I found that book at one of the houses that I just did, and I kept that book. I always would give it to people. So I gave her that book to read because it's good. It's about not procrastinating, don't feel guilty. And it so specifically tells you things that you can do, which somebody would say, I'll grow up. Well, I don't know, what the hell does that mean? Yeah, but
Okay.
anyway.
So I have a question though. I have another question going back to what we were talking about, and like,
Same.
I didn't tell you things. Well, do you want to ask it, Drew?
Yeah, I love that you brought up the piece about like kids not loving themselves or their bodies and not knowing what to do. And it seems like you've like figured it out, or you're like on that journey, or you went through it. And it's
Well,
it's
it
really
was a slutty journey.
yeah. Amen. Been there. But also like it's adults as well. Like it's not just a kids thing or a teenage thing. Like if you never like interrogated that, or like found that book, for example, that you found, like adults still hate themselves or don't like the way they look or all that stuff. It's really hard. It's hard not to hate yourself in the world we live in. I feel like you're like conditioned.
Well, I'm always
way.
doing this a lot now. Don't I look better?
Time for a little facelift.
And I have one eye that's messed up because I have Bell's palsy. So it's always like, but you know what I found out when I was a hairdresser long time ago, and I did it for like 20 years, I guess. I worked with these gals in a salon, and they were all, to me, perfect looking. And I wasn't. I still felt like a wallflower, and I was not good looking. And, it was just, I didn't like that feeling at all, that I just felt so left out because I wasn't like a Sochi snotball because I went to high school with, that's what all the kids were, upper, just socio, like the perfect, whatever. And I just never fit in or felt like I didn't like the way I looked or anything. And it took a long time, a lot of years to overcome that. And now I really don't give a shit. It's like, whatever, you don't like me? I don't care. I got plenty of friends that do. My body's not perfect. I don't care, but I have tattoos. So, yeah, I like them. I like myself. I like myself probably too much.
I love that and admire that so much.
It's like, you don't want to turn into, narcissist either. I mean, that's a horrible thing to have. That's a horrible thing. Horrible. My last boyfriend was really bad, and I didn't know it because I didn't know what that meant. And so, and even growing up, I went to school with this kid from kindergarten all the way through high school. And as an adult, and I went back and talked to him a lot, and he told me about his childhood. You don't know what your friends have gone through as kids. You have no idea. When you're a kid and you're playing with a kid, you don't know. You don't know what their family's like. You don't go to their house. You don't know what their parents are like. And you just never knew about any of that stuff when you're a kid, till you're an adult and you find out things, I remember Rachel asking me how many guys I ever screwed. I'm like, oh my God. I mean,
did you answer?
Maybe at the time.
I don't remember asking you that.
I was in the bathroom sitting on the toilet going pee, and you came in and talked to me while I'm sitting there. You asked me that question. I'm like,
oh wow,
such an open family. So much
flabbergasted.
We are wrapping up to almost being out of time, but I'm wondering, Drew, if you have any last minute questions. And if not,
you can always call me if you, here comes my friend Lupita. You can always call me if you have another question that you're just dying to know about my daughter, the secrets.
Well, go ahead, Drew.
No, I just appreciate you coming on. I think we always look for things that we don't see within our own family, and my family is not as communicative or as open. So
my parents weren't, but I am. I'm mouthy. I'm telling you, it's like, you got to know this shit. Who else is going to tell you? It's the facts, Jack.
I admire that so much. So thanks for coming on today. Appreciate it.
Well, you are welcome, and edit whatever you want. In fact, you could edit the whole program if you want to. Oh my God.
All right, Mom. Well, thank you so much for being on.
I hope y'all learned something from my old age lady person in me. So
yes,
what can I say? And I am so cute and funny.
Yes. Yes. Oh, you are so cute and funny. Okay,
Yes, you
Mom.
are.
Oh God. Although,
Well,
you know what? Let me
okay,
turn
good
sideways.
more.
Can you see my nose?
Yes.
I have a ski jump nose. Nobody in my
Okay.
family has that. And my mother, I was probably about 22 years old. We were sitting in the den talking about stuff. She goes, "Why don't you get a nose job?" What?
Oh,
My mom's
I like
also
my nose. It
convinced
didn't look
that
like theirs.
the neighbor
Everybody-
was is her actual father. So that's another story for another day.
Oh, you
Round
guys
two.
all have the same person that I knew that you did. So no
Mhm.
worries.
All right,
There-
Mom.
There is
Well,
no
I
question
love- okay.
about it. You can get your DNA tested. You're
I already
fine.
did. I'm not talking about my DNA. I'm talking about you.
Me? Oh, I might have had a different dad. No, I don't know.
Okay.
We thought we
Anywho.
might have, but I don't know.
This has been enlightening as per usual. I want to thank
Did
all
you
of our
learn anything? Did you learn
Yes.
anything?
I
Drew?
learned all
What
the
happened?
things.
Oh, did you fall asleep there for a minute?
I couldn't hear because everybody was going at once. I didn't hear my name. What was there a question? Comment?
Did you learn something today?
Yeah. No, I'm very much taking away the openness and also just
Read
like
that book. You're erroneous.
yeah, I wrote it down.
I was
It's-
going to tell, and that guy's,
Yes.
he's passed away, Dr. Dreyer. But he was a big fan of Deepak Chopra.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But that one book, I read it 3 times. It helped me so much over the years to really
Awesome.
learn to not procrastinate or feel guilty, especially that one, feeling guilty. There's no reason to feel guilty about anything unless you've done something really bad and then feel guilty about it. That tells me that you knew you did something wrong and you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
And you might go to hell if you believe in that, which I don't. So anyway.
Bonus of being a Jew.
It's
All right,
interesting to
everyone.
have-
Thanks for tuning
I don't know
in.
about you,
We'll see
but
you
me,
next
I have like
time on
multiple
Sex
personalities
Ed
in my life,
the
right? I
City.
have the
Have
person
me
I
back
am
anytime,
with
'cause
my friends, the person I am as a professional, the person I am with my family. And I don't always like mix those things. I'm very like compartmentalized. So I always think it's interesting when they cross over. Even the episode with my sister Kelly, right?
Yeah.
And so to have my mom in my world, is anxiety provoking. Just because it is. I don't know. I don't know if other people feel like that about their parents, but I definitely do.
Yeah. I hear that. What was your feeling before it, like during and then like after? I mean, the anxiety, it sounds like.
Yeah, before anxiety and like, there's always a thing with me. This is my own issue of like hoping that something will be different than it will be. And having expectations that I know aren't going to be met, especially with my parents in my life. And so there's always anxiety, like this is going to be a shit show because I know my mom, and also hoping that she shows up in a way that I hope she could, but also like me as an adult learning and remembering that she's only going to show up as herself. And I have to like take these expectations off of her because she is who she is. So that's always a struggle with me in my life because sometimes I want a certain thing, but like people can only be who they are, And I've struggled that a lot with my adult relationships with both my parents, even my stepfather, with all of the people that parented me in my life. So, hello, therapy, help me.
I appreciated that about your mom, though. She was unabashedly herself.
Mhm.
Like she could have tried to filter herself or like try to put up this facade.
Mhm.
I appreciate authenticity, and that I can
Mhm.
understand how that can be like cringy or like painful
Yeah.
sometimes. But it takes a lot to be yourself.
Yeah, does. I mean, she is always herself. No filter, no. Mm-mm. And it's great. I mean, listen, I wish I was more like that. I think because I grew up with her, I have a
Same.
tendency to filter myself more than I should because I don't want to make a scene. My mom's all about making scenes. I mean, she literally would have punched my teachers in the face. Like she's not like exaggerating. Like she would have caused the scene. And so hence I didn't tell her things because I didn't want a scene. So but it is awesome that she is just this 100% herself. I wish I could do that more.
Is there any?
Hopefully, I mean it's coming with age, but you know.
Yeah, we learn more about ourselves. Yeah, it's scary because when you are your true self, you risk being rejected, and that's your core self, which is so scary.
And I'm a Leo. Hello. Rejection is my hardest thing to deal with. I can't. I will avoid rejection at all costs. Oh,
It's
shame.
horrifying.
Yeah.
Shame monster.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your so we recorded this, you've watched it back. What was
Yeah.
your favorite part or like a big thing you're taking away from it?
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty to my viewers, I couldn't watch the whole thing. Everyone, I usually edit our videos and I told Drew, I was like, don't worry, I'll do it. And I actually couldn't. Like, I physically couldn't bring myself to do it, which is why this episode is taking a little bit longer to get out there. And so I appreciate you for doing it. Um, and I actually watched it. I was like, oh, this is good. It's okay. Like, I took like a relief
Mm-hmm.
because I think I worked things up to think they're like so much worse than they actually are. Um, and it really was fine, the edited version. Um, so I feel really good about that. I'm not I'm not feeling anxiety about putting this out into the world, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah. I felt similarly in certain episodes. It's like one of those things where you like hate watching yourself. That's how I felt at
Mhm.
least. Like I hate watching
Mhm.
myself, I hate hearing things. Like if I mess up or say something awkward, it's very cringy. So it is hard to watch these things back.
Mhm.
Definitely. Um,
Yeah.
so you would say like that's one thing you're proud of with the episode?
Yeah, that I'm like feeling good about it. But I think, you know, my mom is a very strong person. She's been through a lot of shit in her life, a lot of trauma, and I have nothing but admiration for her and what she has done in her life. And I've learned my strength and my independence from her. Um, so because of those things, she also doesn't open up emotionally that often. So I was really proud of her for the time she did. And also I see myself so much in her when she was on the brink of crying and then stopped and then said her allergies were acting up. And I'm like, oh my God, that's something I would do. Like there's so many, like watching her, I see things in myself that I am working on. Um, but I was really proud of her for like saying that, and getting to that point. But also, like, I really appreciated the part where she said she wished she had been there for me in my elementary school years. Because she's right, that part of my life was very challenging, and so I really appreciated her like acknowledging that. Yeah. Now, also, she was a single mom. She did the best she can with what she could have done at that time. So I don't want to like say, oh, she made this mistake. Like literally, I was coming home like she was working and my dad was, doing drugs or whatever. So and I turned out fine. You know what I mean? Like, so, she
Fine.
did a great job with what she could. I did turn out fine, more than fine,
I'm
right?
just kidding.
I'm a responsible, semi-responsible member of society, like I have joy in my life. And who's perfect. But I did like that part when she just acknowledged that.
Yeah, everybody, I don't know. Everyone thinks they can be a parent. It is a hard fucking job, and you don't know how you fucked up until later in your life. So you're hearing that from your kids, or sometimes like very later after it's already been done, and you did all these things you didn't even
Yeah.
know. And it was really interesting having her unpack the stuff with her mom, and talk about that as well. And also just her perception of like how she was raising you, like her whole, like how that book like
Yeah.
drastically changed and improved her life. Like that one book.
She talks about that book all the time. She recommends it to everyone. I remember her reading it. That book is like, I gotta read it because apparently she like used to give it to her ex-boyfriend. She was like, you need to read this and fix your I
Get away from me, fix your life.
remember one ex in particular. I don't remember his name, but I remember her talking about it. Yeah. Um, I have a question for you about it. You know, my mom is an open book, okay? Primarily, like not, maybe open book is the wrong word. She is an eccentric person. She curses, she talks about her drug use. She has done substances with some of her children. She talks about it. So, some people, I remember when I was being raised by her, other parents would judge her. People in her own family, as well as, friends of mine's parents or whatever. But I don't I like those parts. Like my mom knows what the deal is. I don't have to ever like tiptoe around anything. Like she knows what's up. Like she is not naive by any means. And I really love that about her. But I'm wondering from your perspective, because I know you were raised very differently, were there parts of like things that she talked about as a parent that you're like, what? My parents never did that. Or you like, what is going on here? This is why Rachel's wacky.
There were no parts where I was like, this is why you're wacky. Like, I think everything she said made sense. It was just a different parenting style than I dealt with. And honestly, I was a little jealous because it really, I feel like with religion, when you are living like the way my parents sometimes live, which is like no cursing, like, I don't know, all this structure of like going to church and like having to be this good person all the time, like filtering yourself. I think that comes off sometime as like fake or inauthentic to me. So like when your mom is cursing and being honest and sharing her stories, and I wouldn't even say flaws, but just like I don't know,
Her
like
humanness.
her humanity. It's human,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I 100% respect that. I think that makes interesting, fun people who I want to be around. I want to hear their stories,
Yeah.
you know?
She is nothing if not interesting. That is for sure. I mean, and she's hilarious. I mean, this is why all four of her children are hilarious. Like, get the four of us together. Listen, it is wild.
I can't. Like,
Yeah.
have you spoken with her post at about like how she thought it went or what her experience was like?
I've spoken to her not about the episode. She did ask me when it was coming out because she wants her friends to watch. But no. We did not. We don't have deep talk like that often. I mean, I talk to my mom probably once or twice a week. But the deep conversations are, I don't know, maybe I should ask her that. Mom, I'll be calling you soon, asking.
Yeah, it could be a
Yeah,
cool before she hears it and then maybe after she hears it. Like I would be
yeah,
curious what her thoughts or yeah, I wonder what her thoughts are going to be hearing
yeah.
herself too. Like I'm sure it's very different.
I wonder what her thoughts about the parts we edited. Well, she probably won't remember what we edited out, but I wonder what she'll think about that.
Oh my God. The part about like she was talking about like one of her friends like having the mom was having like a person over. Did you? I don't even think you could see the edited parts. Oh, I guess you have the full script. Um,
Yeah,
oh my God. People, when I tell you, like editing this was a nightmare because it's so hard. Like props to you for always editing these, but also like the biggest joy in the world because I got to watch this like 10 times. Just like your mom being the silliest person in the world. Oh,
yeah. She's so funny. Well, I'm really glad that we got to have her on. I think you know, my friends that are psychologists are probably therapizing me right now as the episode goes for sure.
mhm.
Um, but that's okay. I mean, our parents are part of us, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, the hilarious. But yeah, it's always interesting just to reflect. I think adult relationships with our parents are really challenging. And, me and my mom have definitely changed. We did not get along for years. We didn't get along. We would always fight with, hour two we were together, we would always fight. And our relationship has really grown in the last 5 to 7 years. And mostly because I've matured and I've changed my reaction to her, and how I talk to her. Because she's still the same. She has not changed, nor will she ever change. And I have to, like, we can't expect people to change. So, I really, after my father died, I think 8 years ago now, my father died in 2016. So after he died, I've really made a intentional decision to have a better relationship with my mom, because I didn't have the best one with my dad before he died. So that's the work I've had to do, just like accepting her for who she is with all her wackiness. But that's also the best part of her. Her wackiness is the most frustrating and the most fun parts of her at the same time.
That was very therapy-ish as well. Learning to accept your parents for who they are,
Mm-hmm.
and not trying to change them. And I don't know, if you can't accept them or deal with it, then obviously you create boundaries or you create space. But there's usually ways to, if you feel safe, like,
Yeah.
invite them in or decide how you want them in your life. That makes you feel good. Because if it takes it too
Yeah.
far, then it's gonna ruin your relationship. That's a really hard thing to navigate.
Yeah. Yeah. And realizing our parents are just people too. And they have their own journey of
Yeah.
life. And they're doing the best with what they have and what they know, just like we as individuals are doing the best we have with what we know. And I think we got to give our parents a break sometimes. I mean, all parents fuck their kids up some way. Everyone needs therapy. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person as a parent. Like, parents should, I know, I mean, I'm not a parent, but I imagine that's really hard not to take personal. And life is just life. We're out here just lifing. And can we all just be kinder to each other about like how we do it, And I'm trying to really approach my mom and our relationship with empathy and understanding, of what her life was like with the trauma she went through, and being a single mom, and having 4 children. She had 4 children by the time she was, what, 30. My brother was born when she was 38, my smallest brother. I have no idea what it's like to have 4 children. I can't even imagine having a child, let alone having 4 children, working, having my own business. So she's accomplished so much, and she deserves to celebrate herself for that.
Wow, Lola's not your child. Hopefully she's not listening to this podcast.
Wow.
Lola, sorry if you're hearing this.
Whoa.
Rachel's not your mother.
She's right there.
You just said it. You don't have any children.
Okay. But okay, now I'm in trouble. I'm like sweating because what if she did hear me?
She won't go with
but it's different,
else.
right? Like, it's different.
I know.
I can leave her alone as a 4-year-old dog, and I'm not going to come back to like something wild. Like, she doesn't poop in the house.
I'm just fucking with you.
I know. Well, thanks for coming on debriefing. I think it's important for our listener. I wanted to do this for our listeners because I wanted to kind of talk about what it's like to develop relationships with your parents as an adult, because parenting, in sex ed, and we talk about parenting so many times, it's like a baby's so hard, but the baby is the easiest part. It's like developing a person into a human that is kind and that you have a relationship with, and it goes way beyond the first year of their life. Like, parenting is forever, and people forget about that.
Yeah. And thank God we got educators like you teaching our parents about all these
Oh,
ways
thank
to
you.
like seriously working with parents. I feel like working with kids, at least in an academic setting, is I, I would take that over parents almost any day. Even though parents are curious, it's like, yeah, parents can be wild too.
No, you know what? I love working with parents because I think parents are in society often judge so much. So I think if we can make a space for parents where we don't judge their parenting, because
Yeah.
we don't, no, there's no parenting manual, and there's a million different people saying a million different things,
Hmm.
saying all these things are the right thing. So if we just make space for parents to be like, you know what, I fucked up the other day
Yeah.
as a parent, or to celebrate, like I won at parenting, a place where they can like not be judged and just like be themselves and be like, I'm struggling with this. I think that's super important because parents are just people and they're navigating their own relationships, their own work life, their own mental health. Like, can we just be nice to them?
We
Can we
could try.
just be nice to
I could
them?
try. Maybe
You could
not.
try.
Maybe not. Maybe not this year. Next year.
So funny. Oh gosh. Well, thanks so much. And everyone, this is the season finale of Sex Ed in the City. We will be back in a few weeks for season 2. We have a lot of amazing things coming, so we can't wait for you all to tune in. Y'all have a great couple weeks. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Follow us on Spotify, podcasts on Apple, or our YouTube channel, Sex Ed in the City. Stay connected. We hope to see you soon.